Good evening, everybody, on this Thanksgiving Eve, where it's known for a couple of different things, right? This is perhaps the biggest party night of the year here in the Buffalo area, with so many people visiting from out of town. And also a big travel day. Many of you watching right now, if you're sitting in front of your television, might be waiting on someone else to get to you instead of you being the one traveling. But we certainly know the roads and the skies are very busy right now. And so we want to start with a look at some of the key spots here and in other parts of the country. At the top of your screen, you can see the New York State Thruway in Cheektowaga, as well as the 33, the Kensington Expressway on the right side there at the top. A lot of folks leaving downtown Buffalo at the moment. More than 50 million Americans are expected to drive at least 50 miles this Thanksgiving holiday. Now, in terms of air travel, this will be the busiest since before the pandemic. On the bottom left there, we have a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson International in Atlanta, the busiest airport in the world in terms of passengers. And then finally, at the bottom right, a very pretty skyline shot live in Detroit. That is the Thanksgiving destination for a whole lot of Bills fans, with Buffalo playing in a nationally televised game there tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk about that matchup a little bit later in the show. First, though, those travel warnings. Certainly expect delays both on the road and in the air. Luckily, gas prices are down 13 cents a gallon nationally compared to a week ago, although we're only 3 cents cheaper here in Buffalo. I guess every penny counts. And then we know flights are packed and tickets are expensive. The average domestic round-trip flight this Thanksgiving is around $350. We would probably break all-time records at airports, but the airlines had to scale back flights. So there are fewer planes in the air right now than Thanksgiving before the pandemic, but that's mostly just because they can't find enough pilots and flight attendants to operate more of those flights. 2 on your side's Ron Plants is live at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport for us tonight. And Ron, what is the story there?
Well, Mike, I'll tell you right now, we do have some passengers straggling in here. It's been a little quiet here in the arrival area, but indeed there have been flights coming in here periodically. You were pointing out some of those statistics. One other will throw at people. I guess the FAA was reporting yesterday that Tuesday was going to be the busiest travel period, with 48,000 flights scheduled nationwide. Again, today is a little quieter, but people are still coming in here. And I'd have to say a lot of people are thankful, considering everything we've gone through over the past few years, to get back here to Western New York to be with family and friends. We know that folks are en route to Thanksgiving destinations via the highways, with gas prices still high, but now fortunately lower than earlier this year. Then there are folks traveling by bus or train to get home for this holiday. But the primary concern may have been transiting the skies, which were not so friendly earlier this year, with all those delays and cancellations back in the summer, in part caused by airlines cutting staff, including pilots, as the pandemic pummeled the travel industry. So what did passengers coming to Buffalo experience today? Well, thumbs up from the people we spoke with.
It was much smoother than we expected. It was very busy from Savannah, but we got into JFK and it was quiet, very quiet.
Were you a little worried at all because
completely.
of the summer?
Yes, it was we were expecting the worst.
I was really surprised by how smooth everything went. TSA was really easy. The crowds weren't too bad. I feel like they were pretty prepared this year, so they were trying to keep everything smooth, and yeah, it was honestly really great.
NBC and Associated Press report that airlines decided after the summer travel nightmare to cut back their flight schedules, then hire more staff to catch up. Even the FAA got more air traffic controllers back in the system, along with the TSA for security screenings. But there is one thing they can't control, and our recent winter lake effect blast did raise questions and concerns for some.
Last week, when I saw how much snow and they moved the Bills game, I was starting to kind of think that they possibly we might not be going to Buffalo. But I never got a cancellation, and I showed up, and they put us on the plane, and here we are.
And back out now live to
here
Ron.
They are. I got to tell you.
Yep. Sorry, Ron. No, I was just going to say a lot of people obviously had their plans kind of messed up by this storm this past weekend, right? But it seems like today, from what you're hearing from people, the airport did a pretty good job trying to get things up and running as quickly as they could.
Yeah, indeed they did. We did a story last Wednesday, before the storm actually hit, with Joe Guarino and the airfield superintendent here, and it was amazing to see all the equipment that they have out there to keep the runways open. But they were battling too. They had to close the airport for a brief time. I believe it was Friday night into Saturday, but they were able to get reopened. But a lot of people were talking about that today when they arrived here. They were a little nervous. That's what I was saying. I'm sorry, coming out of the story when I stepped on you there. A lot of people were a little nervous about whether or not they could get in here after seeing all that snow on all the nationwide newscasts. They were relieved when they saw that concrete and even some green grass out there, Michael.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And now Ron is jumping on a plane to go down to the Caribbean because he's been covering snow for so long. So we'll see you in about a week,
how'd you
Ron.
know?
That'd be nice.
That was supposed to be a secret.
Absolutely. Ron Plants reporting live. Ron, thank you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You do the same.